Having COVID-19 can be a scary and stressful experience. We want you to know that your union is here to support you. In this video, we'll be showing you how to complete a WorkSafeBC claim for COVID-19 and answer some general questions you might have about the process. You need to file a WorkSafeBC claim if you believe you caught COVID-19 at work. This is especially important if you work at a site with a known outbreak. If your claim is accepted, WorkSafeBC will cover your wages, your sick time, and any medical expenses. The long-term effects of COVID-19 are unknown. If you experience long-term health effects related to your COVID-19 exposure at work, WorkSafeBC will continue to cover your wages and medical costs once your claim has been accepted. All workers can file a claim. You must complete the claim form online or print out an application. It's not something your employer can do for you. Please set aside 45 minutes to fill out your WorkSafeBC claim. Before starting your application, gather together the following information. There are 3 ways to make a WorkSafeBC claim: online, on paper, or by phone. We recommend using the online or the printable application form. Both the online and printable applications give you the time and space to complete your report in your own words. This video will guide you through the online and printable forms, which are very similar. To access the online application, you'll need to go to www.worksafebc.com. You'll see a list of popular links on your right-hand side. Click on the first one to report a workplace injury. On the next page, you'll be asked to identify yourself as either the worker, the employer, or the healthcare provider. Choose the link for worker. You'll be given 4 options to report your injury. Choose the one with an account and click on the button to log on or create an account. We recommend that you create a WorkSafeBC account when filing your claim online. By creating an account, you can save your application and monitor for any updates after you send in your claim. Doing so will give you easy access to information about your claim when you need it. To access the printable application form, you'll need to go to www.worksafebc.com. Under a list of popular links on your right-hand side, click on the first one to report a workplace injury. On the next page, you'll be asked to identify yourself as a worker, employer, or healthcare provider. Choose the link for worker. You'll then be given 4 options to report your injury. At the bottom, you'll see a link to use application for compensation and report of injury or occupational disease, otherwise known as Form 6. Click on the link to download and save the PDF to your computer or mobile device. We'll be showing you how to complete the online form. But since the questions on the paper form are similar, you can use this video to help complete either one. After you click on Next, you'll see Report Setup as the first page of your report. For Step 1, select an occupational disease. For Step 2, click Yes to identify yourself as the injured worker reporting this injury. The section on worker details gathers your contact information so WCB can reach you. At the end, it'll ask you if you need an interpreter. It is okay to ask for an interpreter. Your claim will involve medical terms, so if you need one to help you understand the terms, you should ask for one. You can also select yes if you feel an interpreter will help you communicate with WCB better. On the next page, you'll be asked to provide additional details about your employment. You can select No for all 4 questions. In the Incident Employer Details section, enter the name of the site and employer where you believe you contracted COVID-19. If you have other jobs, you'll be asked about those jobs later on in the application. In Incident Details, enter information about where and how you think you were exposed to or contracted COVID at work. For Exposure Start Date, enter the date when you think you were potentially exposed to COVID at work. You'll then be asked whether or not you've reported the injury or exposure to your employer. If you haven't yet, answer no. Afterwards, please complete an incident report to your employer as soon as possible. You're then asked to describe the location of the exposure. This is where you tell WorkSafeBC where at your worksite you think you were exposed to COVID. If you can, try to be as specific as possible about where in your worksite or workplace where you were exposed, such as in a common space or the particular floor or unit that you worked in. Then you'll be asked to describe how this incident happened. Tell WorkSafeBC how you think you were exposed while at work. For example, did you provide care to patients who had a positive COVID-19 diagnosis or other patients who may have suspected COVID-like symptoms? Have you interacted with coworkers, the public, or visitors to your worksite who were showing similar symptoms? Include these details as best you can, like how long you were working with someone or caring for someone who has shown symptoms or tested positive for COVID-19. You don't need to name specific coworkers, patients, or residents. You can just put down the shifts when you were exposed and whether you suspected it was a coworker, patient, resident, or some other contact at the facility where you were working at. In Section 6, under Injury/Exposure Information, you'll be asked to describe your injury in detail. Tell WorkSafeBC about your illness and symptoms. It is important to document your symptoms and any other information that you can to support your claim. If you're not able to seek medical attention in person or via telehealth, you can keep a journal where you can write down your symptoms until you're able to do so. If you have been tested, record the date and result of the test. Under Treatment Details, these questions help document the kinds of treatment that you've had. The form will expand and ask for more details depending on any of the questions you answered yes to. For example, if you've seen your doctor in person, over video, or by telephone, you should record the information there. If you miss work or will be taking time off because of your illness or exposure to COVID-19, the Section 7, Wage Details, is where you will tell WorkSafeBC about your hours and wages, so that they can later calculate and pay you for the time that you've missed from work. This section is only for the employer and job that you were working at where you believe you were exposed to COVID. If you have more than one job, you'll be asked for that information later. You'll be asked whether your employer is continuing to pay you full salary. If you are using paid sick leave, then your answer is yes. You'll then be asked whether or not you receive other amounts of compensation in addition to base salary. This question is trying to understand whether you report wages from overtime and shift differentials. If you have earned wages in addition to your salary, then answer yes and complete the requested details. Do you work the same days per week? If you work the same days, then your answer is yes. If not, then answer no. Section 8, Return to Work Information. If you have recovered and returned to work, you can indicate the date here. This will help WorkSafeBC decide on how much wage loss you will be paid. If your symptoms recur, or you have an onset of new symptoms later on, or you're experiencing long-term health consequences that were not known earlier, you can apply now and ask WorkSafeBC to reopen your claim at a later date. However, at this stage, if you're still recovering, click No and provide the requested information. If you have more than one job, use the section for additional employers to add your job and wage information for each employer here. WorkSafeBC will use this information to calculate how much income they will need to compensate you while you take time off due to COVID-19. What's next after submitting your application? You will receive a letter with your WorkSafeBC claim number and personal access number. This will allow you to set up an online account and check the status of your claim. A WorkSafeBC officer will then call you to discuss your claim and ask for more information. The officer will also ask you to sign an authorization form so WorkSafeBC can request your medical records. A decision will then be sent to you in writing. It can take up from 2 weeks to around 3 months for them to make a decision. If you are unsuccessful with your claim, HEU can help you appeal. If you have any other questions or concerns, please contact HEU's WorkSafeBC hotline at 604-456-7186 or toll free at 1-877-438-5550 or by email at benefits@heu.org.